Hey guys, we're going to talk about trolling motors on river sleds. What is a river sled? Well, here in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of our rivers that we run, it might get as shallow as 5 inches in some places. And so we're running a jet pump on the back. Most commonly, we're running tiller handles. Some have center consoles, some have forward helms. But we're going to talk about the installation that I did for my Minn Kota Ulterra trolling motor on my sled. There's a lot of fishing techniques in the Pacific Northwest that we can use a trolling motor for. It makes it very efficient. Hover fishing on a river, of course, fishing any of our lakes, more importantly out in the saltwater, especially when we're fishing for sturgeon and bottom fish, we can hover that boat over an area we want to fish, maybe back bounce into it, but then very quickly move to another spot and make adjustments. So let's talk about the installation that I did on the sled to give you some ideas on how you can install your Minn Kota Ulterra. So very commonly on river sleds, we have some type of can anchoring system. Wherever you may fish, this may differ a little bit, but a lot of people run these cans. Now this is a 45-pound can. It's very aggressive, and typically it sits in the nest that this trolling motor is sitting in. I'm going to move this can so you can see what I'm talking about. So we have a base mount here, and these pins typically coordinate with the can anchor. So what I did, because I do switch out from my trolling motor to the can system, is I had my buddy, who's a master welder, weld up this bracket that fits inside this nest. Really heavy duty aluminum. Everything's tight. This thing is sitting in there super tight. There's no wiggle room. And I was able to use the same pins that I used for my can. Now, one thing I did that you might want to consider, and you don't have to, it just completely depends on how you have your bracket built. I actually used a removable bracket by Minn Kota. They make these so that, you know, if you're traveling, you can unpin it, you can take your motor off, put it in your hotel room so it doesn't get stolen. Or if you're storing the boat for the winter, you can remove this. Now, I didn't need to do this because the whole bracket lifts out and I can put the can back in. But the reason I did it was because it was easier for me to line up the holes to the mounting bracket to the base I had built to get it attached, and then set the motor on and slide the retaining pin inside. So that's the setup I did. If you'll take a look inside, come on over and just take a look. I just simply did a deck mount for a trolling motor plug. Used the Marinco plug. Everything was really easy to install. This is a 24-volt system, and you'll notice I've got an extra cord here. So we can operate this off of iPilot or iPilot Link, but what I like to commonly do is use a foot pedal. So this cord here runs back to the foot pedal, and when we get on the water here in a little bit, you'll be able to see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to head to the water, and I'm going to show you guys how to calibrate this thing, because there's a couple steps. We need to sync our antenna with the motor so that it knows where to spot lock, and there's a couple maneuvers we need to do so that all this gets calibrated and dialed in so you can use your spot lock feature, your following contours and things like that. So let's head on down to the water. Okay guys, so we're on the water and it's time to calibrate our Minn Kota Ulterra motor. That's going to allow us to use all the features like spot lock, autopilot, things like that. So when you mount your heading sensor, it's important that it has a direct line of sight to the head unit. Now, I've checked this. I mounted mine back here because I had a place already for a previous GPS head unit, and so I just reused that hole. I've got good line of sight, so everything works. The first thing we want to do is we want to turn that on, and that's blinking blue. We're pairing this up. I'm going to come up to the motor. I'm going to press pair. And I get 3 beeps. That tells me that everything is paired, okay? So on the handheld unit, I want to scroll down to where it says Ulterra on the menu, and I'm going to hit deploy. And that's going to deploy our motor, okay? So we're going to get the motor deployed. All right, so now that we're in there, I'm going to go back to the home menu, and then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to go to the system button. And on the system button, I'm going to scroll down until I get to sensor calibration, sensor cal. Now it says drive the boat in 2 complete circles. So I'm going to hit start. I'm going to turn on the motor. I'll bump the speed up a little bit. Now on the screen here, there's going to be a circle, and it's going to show your progress on that circle. So we just finished doing our circles, got 2 complete circles. It says calibration successful. Please perform the sensor offset. And we got that done just in time as a ski boat went by us. So we're going to head into the wind. I'm going to get in here by going to home, scroll back down to system. Now I'm going to go to sensor offset on my handheld device. So I'm going to click sensor offset. I'm going to put us into the wind, and then I'm going to start going straight. So I'm going to adjust the boat. Now we're going straight. It's important that you straighten the head unit up so that it's in line with the keel of the boat, okay? Now we're going to bump our speed up just a little bit. Now, once we're going in a pretty good straight line, everything's lined up on the keel, you want to press set, and then it will set the keel offset. Okay, our keel offset set is 3 degrees. So we're going to back out now. Now, everything is set up. You can run the unit off your remote device, you can run it off of your fish finder, or you can use the foot pedal. One thing I do want to point out about the foot pedal is this: when you go to set this motor up, if you plan on using the foot pedal, don't plug it in until you've done this calibration, because if you do, you're not going to be able to access the menu the way you should on your remote device. So get this set up first, and then it's going to work. So let's take a look at spot lock. I'm going to spot lock us right here on this spot. And as you look at the head unit, it's going to make adjustments based on when you hit spot lock. That heading sensor really helps you out. And man, it just holds you there. So if you've got a little bit of a breeze, it's going to keep us here. If you've got current, it's going to keep you in the current. These motors are just amazing. So one thing before I let you guys go is I want to talk about this. If you do get the foot pedal, read the instructions. It's got 2 modes for the instructions. One is normal mode, but one is Ulterra mode. And really what the difference is on normal mode, you operate and steer just like a normal trolling motor foot pedal, but you can't deploy the motor, okay, or trim it up or down. If you put it in Ulterra mode, you're able to deploy the motor, plus you can trim up or down, right? Now, again, all of those features, everything you can do with the foot pedal, you can do with the handheld remote. Just remember, you know, some people are more comfortable with that foot pedal. If you've been fishing and using foot pedals for a long time like I have, it's nice to have the foot pedal sometimes instead of the remote. And more importantly, if you forget to charge your remote and it dies, you've got another way to control your Ulterra trolling motor. So I hope that information is helpful for you guys if you're thinking about putting an Ulterra on your Pacific Northwest sled or saltwater boat. They're phenomenal. You're not going to go wrong. Thanks for watching.